Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. Um, what I have here is a couple of clips, as you read in the title. One's about Donald Trump gaining support in New York and in the Bronx, where a lot of people thought that he wasn't liked. But I'll put my thoughts on that throughout the video. Also, there's been a lot going on with this new so-called virus that's going on that's been affecting children. And once again, it started out in China and it's moving rapidly. But of course, I don't think the mainstream media or anybody's putting a lot of attention to it because a lot of reports that are going on are saying that it's just, just something like strep throat or something like that. So we'll see. But before I continue, just want to thank all my new subscribers and all my subscribers, both on YouTube and on Rumble. And I want to give some extra thoughts after the video. If you guys bear with me, this video should not be that long. And I know I say that all the time and it ends up being a little longer, but I'm trying. Also, if you want to help to support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my PayPal. So without further ado, let's play this clip and let's see what the people of the Bronx, my hometown, my old stomping ground, have to say about Donald Trump, the economy, and good old Uncle Joe and the Democrats. But here we go.
The Bronx is the bluest of New York City's boroughs, and the only borough with the Hispanic majority. President Biden got 83% of the vote here in 2020. But now the Biden campaign is seeing polls coming out saying President Trump is gaining traction with voters of color, even younger voters. So I came to the Bronx to put a face on the numbers, and I was shocked by what I heard on the streets. Do you think that President Biden is doing a good job with the economy?
No, he's not doing nothing to support nobody.
Was he doing a good job? Yes or no?
No. I can see we're all going to be in the streets homeless.
Biden and his press secretary said that prices are going down. Is that your experience or is that not true?
No, that is definitely not true. Prices are definitely going up. I used to go across the street to Florida to go get me a meal. I can't even get me a meal because that meant $20.
Minority communities, we're not seeing the improvement. There's inflation with everything, food, gas, insurance prices, I mean, you name it.
Bidenomics is not working.
Okay, I'm just going to stop for a minute. I found it ironic. A lot of people may not believe this, but in this neighborhood, Fordham Road, I mean, like I said, I was all over the Bronx, being born and raised. And I swear I know that man that was just talking. So I just, it was kind of weird to see that. But, what these, some of these residents are saying is true. And this is why I always said that, people are fed up. And if New York, or Chicago, or both, they turn red, the Democrats don't have a chance anymore. As a matter of fact, I truly believe that come next year, they're going to see an awakening like they've never seen before when it comes to voters. And I say that because, the mainstream media and the Democrats always made it seem that people in New York were happy when Barack Obama became president. When Barack Obama became president, you would not believe, the welfare lines that were down like on 149th Street, 143rd Street, and like 3rd Avenue. I mean, it was so bad that they were taking up, one building in particular was a Goodwill building. And I mean, the lines were nonstop with people applying for welfare and food stamps. That's how bad it got when Barack Obama became president. And the mainstream media did such a great job on hiding the fact of everybody complaining, of people losing money, of people, having a hard time, that when Donald Trump came in and said that he was going to run for president, in my opinion, it wasn't that nobody wanted him to be president. Nobody in New York, a lot of people, I should say, in New York and in the Bronx, they didn't believe that it was going to be possible that he was going to become president. because of the failures of Barack Obama and, what the Democrats were doing. So everybody was like in shock. But I was in Florida at the time. And when Donald Trump won the presidency, I mean, my phone, it was nonstop for days. People from back home calling me saying that they were so happy. But once again, the Democrats and the mainstream media, they took over the narrative in New York. So this is not surprising to me. Okay? It's really not. That finally somebody's gone out there and started asking people, in New York and in the Bronx, how they feel. Because you really don't see that much reporting from that borough. Okay? It's always reporting down in Manhattan where, all the liberals and stuff live. And they'll right away vote, or take the side, of a leftist. But a lot of people think that this could never happen. I always, was saying, and if anybody has been watching a lot of my earlier videos, that, New York will flip. New York is going to flip. People have been fed up. This wasn't since just because Joe Biden became president 3 years ago. No. People have been fed up since way before, okay, Barack Obama. Barack Obama just put the icing on the cake. And then people basically, like we say back home in New York, we had to eat it. We had to just wait and wait. And here we are. But let's continue.
Breaking, it's just a complete mess. It's a disaster. Especially here in New York City, we're feeling it very hard.
If you could say anything to Biden right now, who says that the economy is improving, especially in black and brown communities, what would you say to him?
That's lies. I believe that's lies. Heavy lies on that, for sure.
Do you think that somebody else besides Biden should be president next time?
Of course. Bring back Trump.
Tell me why.
We had money. We had money when Trump was president.
Free my son Trump! Free my son Trump! Trump 2024, everybody. Trump 2023.
That's crazy, and we're here in the Bronx.
I'm gonna vote for Trump if he runs because I feel like it was much better when he was here financially for everybody, not just me, for everybody.
I'm definitely voting for Donald Trump. He made sure we had money in our pockets. He was for the people. He made sure we had what we needed. I feel like everything will go back to how it was. I mean, ever since he's been out of office, everything's declined.
When Trump was president, my life was good. Economical-wise, I was doing so much better.
They're saying it's going to be Biden-Trump, so who will you vote for?
Oh, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna have to go for Trump.
I'm
Sorry.
gonna go for Trump. Trump. Always Trump.
Okay, let me see. Who are you voting for?
Trump.
Feeling the pain of price hikes is one thing, but the show of open support for former President Donald J. Trump on the streets of the Bronx was very surprising. And it's the sort of thing that
But you see, that's the whole thing. When Barack Obama became president back in 2008, a lot of people in the Bronx were not happy about that. They really weren't. And it was due to the fact that, when Bush was president, it was the same thing. Him and his wars, and then 9/11 happened. And, things were really, really rough for a lot of people. When Barack Obama became president, number one, he came out of nowhere. So that was a red flag to a lot of people back home in the Bronx. It was like he wasn't on the campaign trail. He wasn't going to New York. He wasn't stopping, in the Bronx and in the boroughs and, trying to get the people's vote. He just popped out of nowhere. Okay. And many, many people were very skeptical. They were just like, who is this dude coming out of nowhere? And as soon as he came into the presidency, people seen this wasn't within a month, within a week, within a year. I basically, the first week that Barack Obama became president, I lost total. I just lost it. Like the respect for the man, because it was like what he started signing, all right, into law within the first week. I knew it. I was like, no, I didn't vote for him, but he definitely is not the man for the job. And it was just a steady decline. And it just went on and on and on and on. And if nobody believes me, look at Barack Obama's, voting count the second term. He got way less votes the second time around. Okay? So when Donald Trump came out and said that he was going to become president, a lot of people, being that Bush was president before Obama, being being a Republican, and then Obama came in, and then Trump came in. It was like, okay, what are we going to get out of this one? You know, I mean, a lot of people in New York, they love when Trump was building those buildings because he was putting people to work. Okay, and I was working with the union. Okay, the Mason Union. And a lot of my friends work with the Carpenters Union, you know, with the Teamsters. I mean, they work with so many different unions, and they, you know, they knew that if he was, you know, building projects out there, you know, getting the bids to, you know, for big high-rise, you know, projects and all kinds of other projects, and he was putting, you know, union workers to work, it was like, okay, what more can he do now when he becomes president? And it was basically boils down to what everybody's saying here. Money. You give people more money, they live better, especially in the Bronx. You know, when Barack Obama was president, a lot of people were struggling. We were struggling for years. I mean, as a matter of fact, I left New York because of many reasons, but one of the reasons was because of the economic decline in New York under Barack Obama. Okay? And I was working in the engineering department in a hospital in New York, making almost, I believe at the time, almost $27, $28 an hour, and I still couldn't afford the bills. Okay? Because everything just kept going up and up and up. It was insane. But, you know, for a lot of people to come out and say that, oh, you know, New York is blue, it's deep blue. No, New York has a very, nobody wants to really talk about it because of all the liberals in New York, the way they get vilified. People on the right get vilified, and as you see all the video, and not even by me, by many news sources, but a lot of people don't understand that New York is more of what people would say, like early. It's hard to explain. It's they have like a democratic mindset in a way, but at the same time, they have a very strong red undertone as far as leaning Republican. Because some of the main things that they want is they want their freedoms, okay, but they want the jobs, they want the money, they want the security, but they also don't want to be told what to do when somebody comes and tries to cram something down their throat. That's when they start saying, well, you know what, you know, I'm a Democrat, I'm a liberal. I mean, it's hard to explain the mindset of a lot of New Yorkers, but this is not surprising to me. It's really not. I mean, I remember, you know, being asked all the time, you know, how do you vote? And I would say Republican, and I would get vilified, and it was like, why are you vilifying me? And I would always get the same answer, because you're Hispanic. Why are you voting Republican? So that's what I'm trying to say about how people think. It's like, you know, just because I'm Hispanic, I have to vote a certain way. You know, I have to go with the norm. You know, I vote Republican. I vote conservative Republican. That's just the way it is. Okay? But do I want like rhino Republicans telling me what to do? No, not at all. Okay? And it like I said, it's not surprising. I've been calling this out for the longest. And this is where Chicago, in my opinion, and I'll get to the next clip in another minute or so. This is where Chicago needs to understand. I've been watching a lot of residents of Chicago complaining and saying that if things don't change, they're going to vote Republican. Whereas you see in New York, they're like, no, we're not going to vote Democrat, we're going to vote Republican. This is where residents of Chicago need to stop putting out the ultimatum agenda. That's what they're basically doing. They're trying to tell these Democratic leaders, if you don't do this, we will vote Republican. Stop telling them. Don't give them the ultimatum. Just do it. Vote them out. Okay? Vote them out. Dismantle the Democratic Liberal Party. Okay? Raise up the neighborhoods. Vote Republican. Okay? Don't vote Rhino. We all know what Rhino means. Republican in name only. Okay? And you'll see things change. You know, a lot of people say, oh no, you know, New York is deep blue. No, New York is deep blue only by what the media tells people. You once you leave the Bronx and you go into Yonkers and you go further up north of New York, trust me, I mean, besides Connecticut, okay, Connecticut is shot. The majority of people vote Republican. They really do. And this is what a lot of people do not understand. You know, the Democrats do have, you know, certain strongholds in New York State. But when you have a person like Chuck Schumer, as crooked as him, and now you got Kathy Hochul, and you got, you know, some of these other wicked Democrats, I mean, they're the ones that basically suppress the vote for the Republicans. Okay? They're the ones that are in cahoots, you know, with the deep state. So it's hard for people, and I understand it might be kind of the same way in Chicago, but I've noticed a lot of residents of Chicago, they're very fed up, and rightly so, but they need to stop giving the ultimatum to the Democrats. Don't give them an ultimatum. In fact, don't even, you know, have your rallies and do what you have to do, but let them know that we're voting you out, we're voting Republican. Don't give the Democratic Party the ultimatum, because all they're going to do is give them a little more, and then it's going to go back to business as usual. And, you know, that's what they're going to want. So, you know, hats off to this reporter for going out there, you know, into the Bronx. But in my opinion, I mean, it's been long overdue that somebody went out there and started asking these questions. So many people have been vilified in the Bronx, in New York, to talk about Trump, to say they vote for Trump. Okay? And the fear tactic was for the mainstream media to take those news clips of people that were staunch Democrats and how they put Republicans down and Trump supporters down, and they would use that as a fear tactic, knowing that, okay, if we do this, it's going to show, or it's going to pretend to show that New York is deep blue, when in reality it's not. The difference now is that people are so fed up that they're like, you know what, I'm not going to hide it anymore. Okay? I'm not going to hide it. I'm going to start letting people know that I vote Republican. I mean, and not trying to take up too much time again, I apologize, but like I said in one of my videos, I had a friend call me about a month ago, I believe it was, and they had, excuse me, they expanded her district. Okay, she works the polls. They gave her 6 more areas to run the polls. That goes to show you how many Republicans are out there in the Bronx. Okay? So, try not to take up too much more time, but before I get to my next clip, which talks about this new virus that's coming around, the video that I put out last night, okay, I didn't get many views. I only got 16 views out of it. And I can see when YouTube pushes a video. Okay, the video was about Justin Trudeau bad-mouthing Republicans in America, okay, and bad-mouthing Trump supporters in America. So I said my piece. Now, I did say in my video that if I offend anybody and they want to leave the channel, then so be it. And that's fine. I lost 1 subscriber. It just makes me wonder all this time who was it that was watching my my content that caught offense to what I said. I don't know if it was because the language I used, which is whatever, it's a free country, or it was the fact of how I called out Justin Trudeau. I also did notice that in my click-through impression rate, I only had 192, which means that YouTube did not push the algorithm, whereas on Rumble, it was pushed. Okay, so I'm not going to apologize for what I said. Plain and simple. Okay? And if there's anybody that feels that I should not be supporting Americans, okay, or supporting this country, then all I have to say is that, you know what, you're the one that needs to check your priorities. That's just the way I see it. Now, for all I know, it could have been a Justin Trudeau supporter from Canada. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think it was, But and I'm like I said, I'm not talking right now trying to that I'm whining because I want that subscriber back. No, what I'm saying is that when anybody comes on my channel, everybody knows that I'm gonna shoot straight from the hip and there's no hair on my tongue. I'm gonna say what I gotta say because you know what? The censorship is running rampant in this country and around the world. Okay. But the good thing is that the momentum of the movement of people waking up and people fighting back against the leftist agenda that's in America and Canada and worldwide, it's gaining a lot of steam. And come next year, the left is going to have a very rude awakening. Okay, so with that being said, the next clip I'm going to play is of this new virus that's coming out of China, and it's hitting the States right now, and it's hitting Europe. Once again, they're saying there's nothing to fear. It's a respiratory infection. There's like a pneumonia, and it's hitting children. So let's play this clip, and I'll give my thoughts. Here we go.
A respiratory infection is sweeping across China, now Europe, and now the United States is seeing a surge in hospital admissions. In China, hospitals are becoming overwhelmed. Some schools there in Beijing, they've already suspended classes. In Denmark and the UK, hospital beds are also filling up with this pneumonia-like illness that makes it difficult to breathe. And now, in the United States, Ohio and Massachusetts are the first two states to see an uptick in infections. Over 140 cases in Warren County, Ohio alone. Yet the county medical director confidently stating to the media that the outbreak is not linked to a foreign country. How does he know? Stop trying to allay our fears, and why don't you do something about it? Like, I don't know, maybe limit travel to and from China. We're seeing all these infections in the hospital beds. Oh yeah, God forbid our leaders actually did something like that, because then that would be racist. Remember this? Here's Joe Biden in February 2020, just one day after Trump limited travel to and from China after a surge in respiratory infections.
This is no time for Donald Trump's record of hysterical xenophobia.
Hysterical xenophobia, really?
All right, I'm going to cut it for a second right now. It's true what she's saying from a lot of reports that I've been seeing, but also it supposedly the first country that it hit after it came out of China, supposedly the news is going, and it hit the Netherlands. Figure that one out. I don't know how that is. It went from China to the Netherlands, and then like she said, now it's Denmark. It's in Ohio. I believe one report that I seen yesterday. I want to say, well, they said Massachusetts also, but I think I may be wrong. I could have sworn I heard them saying Minnesota. Okay, now I for one I was speaking to a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago, and asking about the kids, and she said that her two youngest, who are not, well, one of them is in school, the other one's not. They came up with something that they were out of school, and I remember her saying that they thought that it was strep throat of the way they were acting, that they couldn't breathe, but she was giving them medication, took them to the doctor. They said it's like an upper respiratory infection, stuff like that. And just so everybody knows, that was up in Fayetteville, Arkansas. So I'm not trying to put any fear into anybody, but what are the odds that was a few weeks ago? I have to say it was actually about a month ago. Okay, and now these reports are coming out in the past couple of days. So if this is the case, just fair warning, if there's anybody in Arkansas that watches my videos, you might want to pay attention to what's going on. Like I said, I'm not trying to spread any kind of misinformation, nothing like that. Everybody knows that children pass things on in school. So many kids get strep throat, they get pink eye, they'll have the flu or a cold, for weeks on end, because the kids, they touch everything, they spread it, they get cured, they go back, the other one has it again, it goes on and on and on and on. Okay? But just a fair warning that you might want to start checking this out. Okay? Do I trust it? No, not at all. Not at all. Especially if it's coming out of China, especially with what's going on in the state of affairs in this country and around the world, especially with what's going on with all the voter suppression that has happened before in the past. Okay. People know where I'm coming from with this, but just a fair warning, keep your ears open, keep your eyes open, pay attention, watch over the kids. But let's continue.
Democrats, they would rather sacrifice people's lives than risk offending the woke radical left. Trump's travel ban at that time, it likely saved hundreds of thousands of lives. Meantime, U.S. medical experts have already declared that they aren't very worried about this new illness either. These same experts probably think that a man can become a woman and vice versa. They also believe that the Chinese Communist Party is capable of telling the truth. Here's Dr. Fauci recalling his earlier conversations with Beijing health officials before the pandemic actually broke out.
From the conversations that we had early on, it was led to believe that early on that this was jumping from an animal to a human in the context of the wet market in Wuhan, and that it was an inefficient virus that just jumped from an animal to a human and didn't necessarily spread very well from human to human. At a time when it was clear that there was at least a few weeks and maybe more of transmission from human to human that we didn't know about. And then when we finally found out that it was a highly efficient transmitter from human to human, it would have been nice to know about that sooner.
Would have been nice to know about that sooner. I mean, that information that was kept from the World Health Organization, it kept U.S. health officials, from everybody, is why millions died from COVID worldwide. The Chinese Communist Party knew COVID spread like wildfire from human to human. And while they locked down their country, they allowed their citizens to travel around the world and cause a historic pandemic. And now with this new infection, the World Health Organization is now requesting more information from Beijing authorities, who of course are saying that these surging infections are not a result of the new virus, but an overlap of known bacteria and other viruses. Again, sounds familiar, right? Despite all of this, China says it's got everything under control. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi told reporters recently, quote, China's interactions with the international community will not be affected by any factors, and we welcome more visits from friends across the world. Yeah, I'm going to go there.
Yeah, okay. Right, with that being said, Anyway, so there it is. I don't know if anybody watches Newsmax. I came across it. This is where some of the information is coming out of, but it's also coming out from other social media platforms also. I haven't seen too much on the mainstream media about it, but usually, I mean, that's the way these things happen. They'll keep it quiet. They'll keep everybody calm and complacent. And next thing you know, it's, lockdown 2.0 right before an election. So my advice to everybody is, like I said, watch over the children, okay? Take care of them the right way, okay? When it comes to them, the powers that be, wanting to make decisions all over again, well, I'm sure everybody already knows where they're going to stand on that, especially if they try to suppress people from going out and vote. I say that's when people need to come out en masse and say, no, we will go to the voting booths and we will be heard. Okay? Because this is something, I mean, it's just so funny the way things just keep coming out, one thing after another, and they want people to say, or people to think that, you know what, it's disinformation, misinformation, conspiracy theory. We got it under control. Just listen to what we got to say. No, that's not going to work anymore. It's definitely not. So, I hope you guys like the content. Please comment, like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, pass it around. Tell your family and friends. Let's help the channel grow. Again, I'm trying to reach 500 and beyond. And if anybody wants to help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my PayPal. So with that, I just want to give a shout out to my people back home in New York and in the Bronx. Get out there and vote. Okay. We got to keep this movement going. All right. Don't let the leftists bring you down. Don't. Okay. Don't. And the same thing goes for the people in Chicago. Okay? And remember, like I always say, stay vigilant, keep praying, and keep praying for each other. Peace.